So we are in the holiday season. Things can get a little hectic around this time of year, but remember, things can also become so very blissful and amazing and magical at this time of the year because so many people around us are focused on holiday magic. It makes it so easy to get caught up in the holiday magic. But I believe that a lot of you may find yourself getting caught up in the holiday hustle and bustle as though that is the benchmark. That is the main thing about the holiday season. But I want to encourage you to look past that, look beyond that, because the truth is there is just as much, if not more, goodness, magic, and excitement around you during this holiday season as there are panic, hustle, bustle, overwhelm, and anxiety. Many of you may feel the latter because this is a time of year where you're reminded of great loss. Maybe this is a time of year where you're going through a great loss. And I want to encourage you to know that whatever it is you're going through, your feelings are not only valid, but they are valuable. And one of the reasons that they are so valuable is because they give you a contrast to the rest of your life. And they allow you to understand that life really does come in an ebb and flow. But Alana, you don't understand. You don't understand what I just went through. If I told you what I just went through, you would be absolutely outdone. I probably wouldn't, because you might be shocked to know all of the traumatic and horrible things that I have witnessed in my lifetime. So when you see me talking positively and taking negativity and pushing it to the side, or bad experiences or sad experiences and kind of moving them out of the way, I want you to understand that you're looking at a woman who has put her whole life's existence into practicing that, not because it came easy to me, but the opposite, because it did not come easily to me. Because I realized, I don't know how I realized, but I realized at some point that in order for my life to be more joyful, I would have to find more joy. I would have to decide that that was going to be a shift of mine. As you are sitting here watching this, or should I say, as I'm sitting here filming this, I have yet another revelation of life. And it's taking me into a new year as this one comes to a close. I'm realizing more than ever that there are things, all things really, that do not need my assistance. They do not need my expertise. They do not deserve my expertise. They cannot withstand or take in my expertise, my wisdom, my decision making, my ability to explain and decipher. So I'm taking a huge step back from a lot of the ways that I interact, a lot of the things that have been my personality up to this point. I have shifted. And I have changed. And in the moment that I shifted, the moment that it clicked for me was the moment that I started to feel more joy, more ease. Now, I have been at this long enough to know that I am about to encounter many more opportunities to strengthen this muscle of this newfound revelation that I have come upon. And the holidays are no different. I believe that you find what it is that you're looking for. And I hope that many of you can utilize that fact as the test, the proof that you can change your life by the way that you think and by the things that you look for. So if you look for things that you actually want to see in your life, if you look for people that you would prefer to spend your time with, that is what you're going to find. If you look for the fact there ain't no good men out there, oh, women aren't really good friends, that's what you're going to find. more often than not. And hopefully where you are in your life right now can be a huge wake-up call that where I currently am right now, the things that I see around me right now are an example of a lot of the ways that I've believed and a lot of the thoughts that I have thought up to this point in my life. And so with that, this video is going to help you understand. It just so happens to be around the holidays, and that's what's sparking me to talk about this. So many of the examples that I give will be holiday oriented, but I want you to know that anything that you're learning can be utilized throughout any other parts of your life. And that is true about learning in general. Anything that you're learning, if you look into it and pick up the layers, you will see that you're being taught something that can be utilized in other areas of your life. I don't even care if it's algebra. I don't care if you're learning trigonometry, world geography, or English and language arts. Whatever you're learning, the things that you're learning can be utilized in other areas of your life. So this time of year, many parents get into a headspace where they're trying really hard to make the magic for their children. And a lot of that is driven by the magic that maybe you didn't get to have when you were a children. Or maybe you experienced amazing magic as a child and you're trying to recreate that. I want you to utilize the feeling that you get inside of you as a bit of a compass, GPS, if you will, as you're moving forward and making decisions. Because sometimes we want to create magic for our children, really for ourselves. Many times the children are either very, very young and they really can't experience what you're trying to create, so to speak. There's ways to make magic for small children. I understand that. But sometimes there are details and pressures, self-imposed pressures that parents will put on themselves because they're trying to create magic for their children, whether they're recreating what they went through or they're trying to desperately not recreate what they went through, or they have this idea that Pinterest put into their heads. Either way, if it feels good and it feels joyful, that's how you know you're on the right track. When it begins to feel like a headache, when it begins to feel like you're forcing something and there's not as much joy, that's how you know you need to pivot. And sometimes the pivot is, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And the reason that it will oftentimes feel that way may not have a reason. Sometimes you're learning something and you don't know the actual lesson and the details of the lesson until later on. But really, it is an act of alignment. It is being aligned and in line with whatever the future holds for your life. There are some things that you want in your future. There are some things that you want to build, some foundations you want to create, and you don't yet realize that some of your current behaviors and some of the ways that you react to people, places, and things are assisting in your journey to the future you, right? And with that, there are behaviors that if you can pay attention to them now, get a handle on them, and begin to work with them, they will serve you well in the future. So there's a multitude of different lessons that you could be gathering from something like your kid has something on a Christmas gift list, and you've been attempting to try to grasp that thing, but for whatever reason, you have not been able to do so. And in that trying to find that thing, it becomes more of a chore. And you really have had, ever since you saw it on the list, this feeling that maybe that's not really something that I want for them, or I don't feel like that's something that I should get. And so this is a good lesson in learning to trust yourself. If you're feeling like you shouldn't get it, and you don't necessarily have a selfish reason, well, I never had that as a kid. then maybe you should pause a moment and look at it and then step away from it and adopt the thought process that I'm looking for this thing, I'm searching for this thing. I have put in a lot of intention in looking for it, have not been able to find it, so I'm going to pause and I'm going to allow it to find me in the proper timing. Sit with that for a minute. I think it's something that really can help you to grasp, again, other decision making that you're doing in the rest of your life. So, I guess in short, you do have the ability to switch what you're focusing on, no matter how tragic, no matter how heavy, no matter how overwhelming what you're going through is. You do have the ability to shift your thinking and thereby shift what you're experiencing in the present. I know there are deaths, there are murders, there are hardships, there are horrible family situations that are either going on right now in your life, that have gone on and making this particular time of year not so great, or this is the anniversary of something that is not so great. So I don't want you to get into your head, she doesn't understand. She's not validating my feelings. She is, because she has experienced the same thing. And one of the things that I realized is that my crusade for wanting people to validate my feelings and wanting to validate the pain and how real it is and how it's not what you think it is, allowed me to expend my energy on something that was not helping me. Because the truth is, it is real, and it doesn't matter who knows or who doesn't know. What matters is how long would I like to stay in this space. For some of you, you may want to stay in this space. You might want to peel back the layers of something, or you may feel like you're paying homage to a person, place, or thing by being sad, by being overwhelmed. You might even look at it as somebody else's fault. However you slice it, the answer to move out of that feeling, not disregard your feelings, not disregard the importance or the severity of what happened, but simply move out of the negative headspace that, and thereby doing so will help you experience more positive, more clear thinking, which will help you going forward. The answer to that is to shift your thinking. But Alana, how can I find the silver lining in this horrible situation? Well, I'm not really asking you to look at a situation and find the positivity in it. You can. And that's like double healing, triple healing all at once. But the main focus is to shift your thinking to something that is not so heavy, something that is not so bringing you down, hanging you down, drawing you down, if you will. And what I mean by that is you could think of the situation and realize, what the positives are in this situation, or you could put the situation on pause. You can realize that even though you don't know how you're going to get through this, that you currently are living because you got through 100% of all of the things you weren't sure you'd be able to get through. And with that, it gives you an opportunity to shift to something else. Okay, I need to go to this mall and pick up something. I need to shop online. Maybe those two things are something that brings you joy. This time of year, you can drive down to the town center and see the Christmas lights. Maybe this time of year is a good time for you to wake up really early in the morning and just sit on your porch and sing with the birds. There's so many things out there. So many. It doesn't matter. Happiness and joy does not care about the horrible things that have happened to you. They will show up. Happiness and joy are like best friends. As long as you reach out to them, as long as you call on them, they'll show up. They might have to catch the last flight or the red eye and travel all through the night in order to get to you. But happiness and joy don't care what obstacles are in their way. If you reach out to them and call on them, they will show up. It's some of the tools that you have been given. It's some of the tools that have come with your being, the way that you move in the world, the way that you operate, the way that you have gotten over past challenges, the way you will get over future challenges, the way you have celebrated in times of victory. All of those things exist because they are in you and they came with the package that is you. So moving forward, always remember, you can take, toss, and replace whatever things that are going on inside your head that are not contributing to your positive mindset or not making you feel good, making you feel drugged down. Take it from me. Without going into great detail, that would actually be, that would have to be a documentary for me to go into detail of all of the things that I have seen, all of the things that no one would probably judge you if you stayed in that headspace and you allowed that horrible situation to define you, because there's been some horrible things that I have seen and experienced and witnessed. However, I need you to understand that this is not a woman who is talking to you just because I think it's a good idea. I am telling you these things because I have experienced them for myself. The biggest part of my life coaching success and the draw for people to come to me to help them with their life is because I am sharing with them things that I have done that have allowed me to get through many of the things they have no idea how the hell they're going to get through it. And so at this time of year, as the year wraps up, as things come to a close, never feel like you wasted any time. There's really no such thing. There's no such thing as wasting time. You have experienced some things, and what you have experienced is coming with you into the rest of your life. It doesn't matter if you stayed with a partner for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You didn't waste anything. You clearly needed that experience in order for you to get to a place where you were ready to leave and ready to disconnect. You may have bumps and bruises mentally, emotionally, and or physically from some of the things that you've experienced, but they were not a waste. Many of those things you have experienced have taught you where you will never be again. And that is an absolute blessing. You not only want to know where you are going, but it is great to know where you never plan to go again. I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Even though I don't know you, stay with me. I'm proud of you because I know you sitting here listening to this is a step in the right direction for you. You might even know what to do, but you just needed a little encouragement. Maybe you know what to do and you don't necessarily need encouragement. You just need to hear the words of a wise person who's on the same wavelength as you maneuver through this thing. Okay? Every time you say you want something, you're going to get every opportunity to learn about it, to go through it, to get a challenge so that once you get it, you'll be ready. Because that's what you want. You're the one who wants to be perfectly ready and in line and aligned when that thing shows up. And so because of that, you're going to have to go through a few things. I often refer to it as it's because of the way that you want it. It's not just that you want it. Well, Alana, I've been searching for love for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Well, it's because of the way you want it. You want it a certain way. You don't just want just any old regular old kind of thing. You want it a certain way. But Alana, my friends have been married, some of them married and divorced by now. Exactly. Great observation. Great observation. We may not want to utilize them as our benchmark for what we should be doing, right? That brings me into an awesome segue to the thought process of what I refer to as the bookshelf and the buckets. The bookshelf and the buckets are a great example, a great visual that allows you to understand fully that everybody is on a path. Everybody is working towards something, but not everybody is working on the same things. Society shows us things like marriage and career, right? And many of you may not yet be married. Many of you may not have landed in your career of choice, but there are other things on that bookshelf, and there are other buckets that you are doing really well at. And so the example of the buckets on the bookshelf came along when I was having a conversation with a woman who was she was having a challenge with the fact that she had not yet found her soulmate, her ultimate love. And she was being basically the single auntie for all of her friend group. Everybody else was married. Many of them had children. And so she was really in a place where she was trying to figure out, when's my turn? And this woman had a lot of other great things in her life that she had worked on and that she was able to achieve. But oftentimes we get off into this negative self-talk and we validate our out of place feelings by saying, yeah, but see, I've done this and I've done that. And these men out here, or these women out here, this dating scene out here, nobody wants a woman. And then you start naming the characteristics of what you have, right? It's hard for men to, no, it is because of the way that you want it. And so the bookshelf is where all the buckets are housed. Everybody has the same buckets, but the buckets are in different order. So the buckets that are at the top of the shelf, furthest to the left, are the ones that we really want, we desperately need. We don't really have everything we want, but we focus on them. Oh my gosh, we focus on them so much. And that's why they are at the top of the shelf, right in our eyesight, furthest to the left. So in order of importance, they're top of the shelf, left to right, right? The ones that are towards the bottom of the shelf are good. Those are things that you got that in order. That ain't nothing you got to worry about. And you might even be in a position where you look at other folks that don't have that in order and you think, I don't understand. Why aren't people more focused? And it's like, well, wait a minute. They are, but they just happen to be focused on the things that they're good at. They're focused on the things that they're more proficient at. And you have this bucket, and in her case, it was a forever relationship, her soulmate. Her bucket was at the top of the shelf, furthest to the left. And it just so happened to be the thing that she most desired, most wanted, and the thing that she did not have. She had not achieved that just yet. But there were some buckets on that bottom shelf that were very impressive. And by impressive, I mean, there are some people that are having challenges living up to or achieving a lot of the things that she already had achieved. Buckets that things that she had already checked off of her list. They were doing amazing. She was doing amazing at, but her friends, those were their buckets at the top of the shelf, furthest to the left. And so for her, it was challenging because she found herself around people who had what it was that she desired. And in them having what she desired, it constantly was a reminder to her that she did not have it. And it also, because she did not have it and she had a constant reminder, it also made her take focus off what she had achieved. And so it's very important to realize we all have the same bookshelf and we all have the same buckets, but our buckets are just in different order. That's it. So whereas you're looking at someone and you're thinking, oh, they're a late bloomer, the truth is they have some things that have clicked into place that you may not necessarily have. And it's not in our list of necessary things to go and figure out, okay, well, why do they have this? Or what is it that they're doing? Or what is it that I have that they're not good at? Just know that we're all on a mission. We're all on a path, and we are all managing the same bucket categories, but in different order. And that should allow you to not only give yourself grace, but give grace to others and not judge or particularly care too much about what they're doing in comparison to what you're doing. Stay your path, stay your course, and this life could be something that you enjoy way more than what you dread if you're able to take the principle that I have shared just now and utilize that in your life. Plug in that take, toss, and replace, where you take what you're thinking of, take what you're ruminating on, toss it. Some of y'all not going to toss it very far, and that's fine because it's heavy. Push it to the side, toss it to the side, and replace it with something that will bring you joy. We don't necessarily need to focus on the things that are negative or less than positive, as I often say, because we've been conditioned for that to be a part of our memory anyway. And so by you putting it to the side, it's not like you're going to forget to handle that. That's not how our brains work. It's going to be there, but while it is sitting there, you have moved over here and you're focusing on something that can actually bring you in a headspace of joy. And here's what's interesting. If the thing that you have taken and tossed to the side is a heavy decision you have to make, putting it to the side and allowing yourself to get engulfed, enrobed in joy will give you more clarity to make the decision anyway. So while you're maneuvering through life, I hope that you can come by here as often as you need to get the reassurance, to get the tools and the rejuvenation that you need to navigate this life that you are creating day by day, thought by thought. Grace is your friend. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is what you're making. And all of it means I'm so proud of you. Thank you guys for coming by and listening. I hope to see you in the next video.